Good weekend, all. Ira Epstein with your weekend edition of your Metal Market Wrap-Up, and this is for August 18th, 2023. And this is where we look at weekly charts. Now, you know, the big event of the week has been interest rates in the U.S. going to new levels, now sucking all the wind out of the stock market, suddenly weeks of breaks in that market. And by the way, you're only in mid-August. There's room for this market to drop well into September if history is a story, because the weak months are partially August, but a lot of the times they are September. So that's what I look at. The second thing is China. The basic implosion that is taking place, it's like a slow rolling disaster in the property market and now in shadow banking, and it just seems to spread. I mean, we keep hearing new names popping up. Obviously, I don't live in China. I'm not familiar with all these names, but they're both large and mid-sized companies, and it's one after the other having the problem. And the government seems to be very good at creating a task force and doing nothing. Sort of like our president. Is he going to Hawaii yet to see these people? Maybe I missed it. Maybe he did go and came back already. If he did, I apologize to him. I don't think he went. We're going to see more about President Trump this week because he's not going to participate in the debate. So it's going to be the second-rate people, as I call it, all trying to get known and can they get anything going, because all the air in the room is about Trump. Trump's going to turn himself in, maybe Thursday or Friday in Georgia. And this is a different type of case. He can't pardon himself if he wins the presidency. So it's very possible we'll have a president that will be running the country from prison. Can you imagine this? Reminds me of the days of Al Capone living in Chicago. So strange. All right. So what about what's going on? Well, you know, the big event now is everybody is saying interest rates, high interest rates are here to stay for years to come. Let me give you my gray hair years of what I've learned. It's a great soundbite. It's got power behind it, but it doesn't quite work that way. Number one, what does work is at market tops, everybody's the most bullish and you hear the most bullish things. At market bottoms, you're the most bearish and you hear the most bearish things. The solution, if you think about it, for high interest rates is high interest rates. It slows the economy down, then you don't need high interest rates. The solution for low interest rates is low interest rates. It creates demand for everything, and then you need high interest rates. Does that make any sense to you? It's almost like goods, you know. Drive the price of copper up, they'll find ways to make more copper. Drop it down enough that they don't need to produce anymore. In fact, they can't afford the labor costs. I can go on and on. It's basics. You learn this. Well, it works that way through the economy as a whole. Yes, time frames are important in what they do, but the concept shouldn't be lost on you. When we come to the gold market on a weekly chart, are you going to make a run for the 18-week at 1850, 280? It certainly has all the makings of it. Doesn't mean the market won't hold that number, but it's the only number I have to work with on a weekly chart. When I go to the weekly chart of closes, and this is now weekly, the market is still down, and you lost this week another 1.5%. When we take a look at each one of these bars from a weekly chart, you have a pattern of a higher high and a lower low. I don't see a trend. The market seems to be moving in a wave, gets a hard bounce, and then another wave. Where is the market? Well, it keeps failing recently at the 18-week average of closes. Each week I do my darn best to teach you that what I do, doesn't mean you have to do it, is I view that when a market is over the red line, I have a bullish bias. When it's under it, a bearish. So I'm looking for reasons to be short right now, not looking for reasons to be long. I then look to see where am I in that thinking. Well, I've got these numbers all the way down here as potential targets. Where's that all-important Bollinger Band? You hit it for the first time, and you hit it this week. Your low was 1884. You got to 1886.10. That is the number, and you're hanging there. Okay, that's where your close is, and you're under that band. Okay, I can live with all that as a low. Where are you going in momentum? That's still pointing lower. It is oversold, but oversold isn't a reason to say, oh, the market's going to bottom. It could easily embed where both the blue and the red lines close under 20 for several weeks in a row. This is week one. You're just oversold. Do I tell my clients to deploy new short money at a Bollinger Band in an oversold market? I do not. That doesn't mean I'm telling them to buy, I promise you. It's just I don't think that I would be telling them to deploy new short positions. The gold-silver ratio, silver's fighting to stay where? Bearish. It's correcting a little bit. That's why. You're getting that little correction, so silver got a bit of a bid against gold. But overall, as long as you're over the 18-week average, gold should be stronger than silver. When I come to the weekly silver, I go, aha, now I get why the market's having trouble breaking. It got down to the combination of the 200-day average, see the gray, the green is the 100, near the Bollinger Band. Now, the last piece of the straw's 2206 level doesn't have to get there. It's oversold, and it's trying to hang in at these averages. It's not a buy, but it is a short cover area, for sure, the way I teach it. First challenge of major moving averages that you haven't been at in a while is that. Get over them, and the question is, can they stay over them? And that's where battles begin. And that's what you're doing. You're fighting a battle. You don't have a clean-cut move in gold up or down. In the copper market, the idea that China was going to be able to do something constructive 3 weeks ago is a total failure. And Goldman got caught in that. They put out that they raised where they think the price of copper was going. I think it was either Bank of America or JP Morgan, the exact opposite. I forgot if it was Morgan or Bank of America, and I kept telling you here, no, 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 and you heard me say it. I said, China talks the talk, they don't know how to do the walk. And look what's happened to copper, because that is what's going on. Now, it's a weekend. This is the perfect time for China. They normally on weekends unleash programs. I'm not saying they will. It's the perfect time. If they don't, we will see there'll be more negatives during the week. Cutting interest rates alone, 10, 15 basis points, isn't going to solve their problem. They've got to take a scalpel to this and figure out what they're going to do. If they don't, then they've made up their mind to let the chips go where they were, will fall. Evergrande today declared in the United States a Chapter 15 bankruptcy as they now go to the creditors and they say, listen, we're going to screw you. You are going to write down some of the debt. You are going to restructure it because you've lent so much to us. If we go broke, you get nothing on the dollar. Well, they'll get something because property is still there and property doesn't go away. Of course, how do you get the property in China? Because the government can change things on you. But that's what's going on. Well, American companies do that too. They're not by themselves. How many times have we seen auto companies go bankrupt? Everybody gets screwed, and then they come back and make this money. Come on. This game's been played. When you're big enough, you can do this. In platinum, lower highs, lower lows. You can see how the game is still coming down. Could embed and get even worse situation. And in the dollar, until you get through now last week's low, the 101.60, it's clear sailing. I mean, who doesn't want to own the dollar in this world where we're talking interest rates higher for longer? China's not the place to be. Other economies are wobbling. And we're so strong, we have a problem. There's a big story in the state of Iowa right now where they can't get enough workers. I was just reading it before I did this. So this thing's not over. We're just in the ideal good place, and remember that. So again, I want to remind you, my special bond report. I cover in it, in detail, the 30-year bonds, and I go into the price count charts. I go into the seasonality of the 5, the 15, what the 30-year has done. This is what a price count will look like. You get set up. The seasonal charts will be that way. Then I give you the commentary that I have and walk you through the weekly as well as the daily charts, study by study, and come up with some conclusions for you. So if you'd like to see this, it's free in most cases, not all. How do you see it? You go to iraepstein.com. Under the word research, For those of you that are already our subscribers, you can go to your member login area. And another way to do it is to just move your cursor to the top up here. You'll see an icon when you do that. Give it a click. It comes off sometime Monday at the latest, but it might be midnight and 1 second. In other words, 1 second into Monday. The computer decides when to do it, and we've seen it go random, but that's when it's coming off. I'm Ira Epstein. You have a great weekend, and I will catch up with you Monday morning. Take care.